a surprise visit to his home, bringing some gifts, including a stove.
You do realize there is no gas motor, right?
Don't break their hearts. We can just use it as a table.
He gives his father a portable radio so that he can listen to his games.
Listen to your games. Are you trying to give your mother a heart attack?
Deco's brother suggests listening to the Brazilian team invitations tomorrow, but their mother reminds him that he must be in school at that time and his father has to work. Deco tells everyone that there's no point in listening to it because he's too young to be on the national team. Despite this, they nervously listen to the announcement of Brazil's national squad for the 1958 World Cup. Deco has no hope of being selected for the national team, and to their surprise, Deco gets selected.
What's going on out there? Deco, you look sick. Are you okay?
He is shocked by the news and can't believe he's on the team. Before his departure, the father tells him that since 1950, Brazil's spirit dies with every single game, and there's only hope in Deco. He gives him his old uniform with the name Pele on it.
That's what those rich kids called me to make fun of me.
No, it's what the people called you when they saw you play with Ginga. And when I saw you had something, I did not.
The father shares his story. When he first became a professional footballer, he wanted to play with the beautiful Ginga. He scored 5 goals with his head in one match, but at one moment he was filled with doubt, and it led to his injury. It was the moment when he stopped believing in himself.
Doubt can turn a beautiful Ginga move into a dangerous one.
Pele leaves and later meets with his teammates. Another player who also practices the Ginga style starts pushing Pele, but it turns out to be a joke, and the mini Oscar Isaac is a cool and kind guy. He introduces Pele to all the members of the team. However, the main star for the reporters is Jose, the rich boy who bullied Pele when they were kids.
My family is Italian and I was trained in that style of play.
He mocks Pele again, saying he lacks the modern European style of play. The reporters make fun of some players sticking to their Ginga style. Pele confronts them, but the coach of the national team interrupts him, promising that the team won't play the Ginga style anymore. After that, the national team coach calls Pele for a meeting and warns him against playing the Ginga style of football. The next day, Pele tries to play the European way, as the coach suggested, but finds it difficult. Jose keeps mocking the Ginga players in front of the reporters, mentioning that they are playing lousy. Pele grumbles to Scott Isaac that they play lousy because they aren't allowed to play their way.
I really hope you're not saying what I think you're saying.
What if we just didn't get it right in 50?
All I know is that coach picks the starting lineup today. Show him you can play the way Jose plays, and you might have a shot. But if you play with Ginga...
Later that day, during the match where the coach is supposed to pick the starting lineup, Pele struggles to play the European way. Eventually, he decides to perform the Ginga play. The coach demands that he stop doing this, and other players don't approve of Pele's actions. As a result, he starts to doubt himself, which leads to an inaccurate move, injuring his knee. The team doctor examines him and sadly confirms that the injury may rule him out of the World Cup. At night, Pele calls his mother and informs her about his injury.
It's my knee, They don't know when I can play again.
What happened?
I should have stayed in school.
His mother is shocked to hear it, but still encourages him to have faith and take care of himself.
We made that choice together, and it was the right choice.
Your father and I love you no matter what.
The next day, the doctor can't say how long it'll take for Pele to recover from the injury, but it's too late to replace Pele, so the coach decides to take him to Sweden anyway. The reporters continue to mock the Ginga style, mentioning that one of the Brazilian players injured himself while attempting to play in the Ginga style. The World Cup begins, and the Sweden team makes fun of the Brazilian team for their small size and primitive style. Despite being talkative, Jose says nothing in their defense. The doctor treats Pele's injury with traditional Brazilian medicine. He mentions that the referees here keep the ball after every game and promises to take the winning ball to Brazil this time. Pele starts slowly recovering. Meanwhile, the Brazilian team manages to win a couple of starting games. As the games are too brutal and competitive, several players from the team get injured, including Jose. The coach asks the doctors about Pele's injury.
Better than I expected, but it's still extremely weak.
So you'll clear him?
It'll be excruciatingly painful for him.
I take that as a yes.
Left with no other alternative, an injured Pele is asked to play for his country. Nervous, Pele vomits, and the coach literally drags him onto the field, urging him to pull himself together. The doctor approaches Pele and warns him against playing the Ginga because it's too dangerous for his weak knee. In the next scene, Pele, along with his team, gets onto the field with his coach reminding him to stick to the plan and play the European way of football. The commentators laugh at Pele, who appears small even among his teammates.
Clearly the youngest player they've seen in a lineup, and the crowd here having a grand time at his expense.
Don't listen to them, Chico.
During the game, Pele plays as his coach suggested, and the Soviet players bump him